Hello and welcome to another episode of Over the Counter Conversations. Today I'm joined by Ivan Rajkovic, and he is the co-creator of Forest of Radgost. How are you doing, Ivan?
Hello, Kevin. I'm perfectly fine, considering that campaign is 10 days from launch, so it's basically like running a sprint and the end of marathon. So it's a thrilling and very tiring in the same time.
When does the Kickstarter go live?
10th February. Oh, we got a guest. So this is the main creator of the game and designer.
I just
Hello.
wanted to Ryan say hi.
Hello, it's Dimitrije, yeah?
Dimitrije.
Now, see, this is actually great that Dimitri's walked in, because this is the thing I was most excited about when I heard the story of Forest of Radgost, was that it started off just as something fun for you to do with your son, and now it's spawned into its own Kickstarter. Can you maybe tell us that story, how you and Dimitri started making the game together, and how long ago was that?
Well, Dimitri,
That was now 6 years ago.
yeah.
Well, my dad wanted for us to have something to do together, and he thought of a board game because he, when he was younger, used to do something similar with his
Yeah.
friends, and so we thought he thought of a subject such as Slavic mythology, something new to explore.
Yeah, for sure.
He was just 8 at the time, so
Yeah.
you cannot imagine the difference in height and everything.
Yeah, no, like, well, that's the thing as well. Like, did you play a lot of board games together at the time? Were you a board game family?
Yes, we can say that. So basically, we have played the games. We are not heavy board gamers, so no very hard games. More like Catan or something like
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah, the classics, Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride.
Yes,
Yeah,
something like that, and of course, all those standard like Monopoly and chess. So basically,
yeah. So I mean,
that kind
it's really ambitious. What made you want to do a board game with your son and not anything else?
well, two reasons to be exact from my point of view. First, it was I wanted to do something that has a form of the project, so he can see the whole process from creative side to how it looks like when you want to put it in implementation and everything there.
The
And
whole development.
the whole development, so it's not just fun and easy. And from another side, I'm software engineer. I spend too much time in front of the screens, and when they ask me why didn't you wrote the video game, I say, are you insane? You think that I have a regular job want to sit in front of the computer again and again? I would like for my son to do proper social gathering, not over the screens, but when you do the board game, it's completely different adventure. And as he said, I thought about what could be the project that is achievable for both of us to be interesting at that time. And difference was big. He was only 8. And I remember that when I was about 10, we make our own board games, because at that time it was not easy to buy them in my hometown. So it was easier to make them than to acquire new games. So basically we made a lot of games that some of them last over several years. So you just keep them expanding. And I thought that creating the game actually is sometimes even greater adventure and
Yeah.
more fun than playing a game. So that's how it started. But I would really like to to hear his point of view, because actually I didn't hear how he think about that start.
Yeah.
Now,
I was only 8, so I'm not sure how exactly can I recall how things happened, but it was interesting. I loved making the stories and reading more about it.
Yeah, because that's the thing that's really interesting to me, and it's something I spoke to Ivan about a little bit before, was Slavic mythology. We aren't told about that. It's really interesting because all of these characters are new. Like, so why Slavic mythology? Why did you go down that route?
Well, we are Slavic people, and we know that the whole world knows about Nordic and Greek mythologies, but we found out that Slavic is equally as interesting, but no one basically even heard about it. So.
Well, like that's the thing as well, because it got me thinking. Because there's a lot of Scottish mythology, like the Kelpies and the Pixies and things, but I don't even know that stuff because I'm always seeing Roman mythology and Nordic mythology, even the Scottish mythology. I'm not super good on that, so that it's made me want to go and learn about that stuff.
That is so beautiful, but because as we spoke earlier, for me, the greatest surprise was that in the moment of thinking of what should we make the theme and subject of the game, I realized I really love mythologies, all of them. That I know Greek, Egyptian, Roman, and everything that is out there, Norse, of course, Vikings and everything related to them, much more than my own. So my own roots and my own mythology is completely was in the fog for me, except the stories from my grandmother or something like that.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Nothing like concrete knowledge or anything. So it was good reason to endeavor that. And as you probably know, each of those mythology has its values. So and when something lasts over several thousands of years and that story keep repeating telling from one generation to it stood the test of time. So what is the chance that you have mythology which is not really polished and good? Very
I found it very interesting as well that you were saying it was Christianity that wiped a lot of these out. They came in and got rid of all the false idols and.
Yes, it was very important because as most of pagans, they had a lot of gods. So basically, when you start with Christianity, you had to get rid of all the ways. So basically, the interesting thing is that they adopted.
I have to go now, so.
No worries, Dimitri. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you too.
No, it was nice meeting you. Thank you.
Cannonball training, so he's.
No, it's okay. It was nice to have him in because obviously I've said you're the co-creator, so it was good to meet the main man.
Yeah, definitely nothing will happen without him as a starter. And as I said, he chose the most of the creatures. He has a big influence, not taking this too seriously and going too much with adult scenarios. And he insisted there will be no killings in the game whatsoever about the creatures and the characters. So we have to find a way to make it child friendly. And a lot of testing was done with him and his friends and neighbors and their families. So
well, that's a good segue into this actually, because we've talked about how the game was created, but can you give us an overview of what the game is about? So if you were to explain Forest of Radgost, how would you explain it?
Wow, it's always hard to speak in concise and short terms about something that was done so long. So basically, it has all ingredients of good fairy tale, folk tale, or mythology tale. You have something that has happened and disturbed the usual way and respect to the boundaries that are made by some rulings or some religion of God. So basically, you have the Forest of Radgost, which is basically at his protection, and everything which dwells in that forest, creatures, animals, trees, everything is under protection of God Radgost. God Radgost actually is the chosen god because he's a god of hospitality among other things. and hospitality is big thing with the Slavic people. So basically, but hospitality mainly in all religion is very important, and there is a strong tradition about hospitality with most nations. And we imagine that that forest and that village is under protection of God Radgost, but he doesn't like to mix the realm of the creatures and realm of the humans. And that's actually in the Slavic mythologies like that. So basically, when you're in your house or your village, you're pretty much protected because all the dangerous creatures are not allowed to intrude
Oh,
at
okay.
your house and so on. So this is the premise, and everything is in balance. But there is of course, child to make the things much more complicated. Actually, two childs. It's a boy and a girl that was playing the hide and seek and hide in the boat, and boat tied out from the bank and driven by the river in the forest. So map of the Forest of Radgost is big forest with a lot of roads and crossings and river that goes through the forest, which is very fast, and everything looks beautiful and magic thanks to the artist. Which
Yeah, the game does look absolutely stunning. Like, I'm not going. I don't want to interrupt you, but that was another thing when I saw it. Like when I got linked to it, I was like, wow. And we're going to talk about how beautiful it looks and the artists and the sculptures because they're outstanding. But sorry to interrupt.
There was even technical issues from that they solved first time by my knowledge. So basically, at the table you sit in around. So you have to have the map of the forest, which looks equally good if you look it from the opposite side. Of course, both go down the river and hit the rocks. Fortunately for us and the story and the game, Child survives, but they are in the forest where they shouldn't be. Nobody enters there, and you have now a big responsibility and not a good place to be, because Žrec, which is sorcerer or priest in Slavic villages, had to make the call, because I want to risk and to break the taboo and offend the god and enter the forest to save the children, or you want to leave the children there and not save them. So basically, he has to choose, and whatever he does, it's not good for him, because
yeah, for sure.
Who is breaking the rule. And then we have the search party, which is going to the forest and have to find the children and get them safely back to the village. That's
So
the main goal.
the players are the search party.
You can play the search party, and if you have more players, someone can play the child. So basically, children could be static, passive, waiting for you to come to their rescue, or children could also try to get back to the village. So it's a cooperative game.
Yes,
and
for sure.
what's beautiful, it's naturally developed in the certain way, and we weren't so immersed in trends and what is popular, which is good, because when you have been out of that as a professional, we are indie designers, we are really family project, you have that opportunity to explore the mechanics in the way that it seems natural to you. So basically what happens with that, because it's search party and cooperative game, you get something very unique and excellent with the game. Anybody can join the game anytime. So if you start playing and 15 minutes has gone,
Oh, okay.
you enter the forest, but anyone can take a new character, enter the forest, and start the search party by his own. So
that's really cool. That's a really nice.
Very good, because you don't have to arrive at the same time. It's good for clubs and similar places, so you don't have to wait for game to be finished. And
So what is the gameplay like? It's very story driven, isn't it? Where you encounter the creatures and
the heart and the soul of the game is that journey when you actually, while you're trying to reach and save the children, you actually interact with the creatures, there is a several layer of the game. First layer is you're lost in the forest and you wander around, and there is very beautiful mechanic on which I'm very proud of, how we simulate that feeling of being lost in the forest. And you will have a lot of crossroads, and on the crossroad you will have the token, which will be in most cases face down, so you will not know which creature that token represents. So when you came to that crossroad and hit that token, you will have to decide, because it's forest, you have the hunch, but you're not sure what the creature is, and you have the ability which you will take. You will either hide or run or fight or try to communicate. There is several ways that you can interact with the creatures from forest, and that's the main action part of the game. And there, as in any good fairy tale, you can perform some good deeds and get something back for that. But we made it, as everything in Forest of Radgost, to be as much as it possible similar to real life. In terms, sometimes you do good, but you don't get good in the return. You get bad in return.
Right, okay.
The thing that you are doing good doesn't mean that you will receive the reward. Maybe you will receive the punishment. So actually, it's a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of things you have under your control, but there is a lot of magical, there is a lot of surprise, there is a lot of and ochs in terms that you think that everything is going wrong, and it turns out that that's actually right way to do it. And sometimes it will look like you're in the right direction and end up in the other.
Yeah.
So that's how it plays out, and everything is entangled. So basically, number of combinations that there are, especially because your character and character of your player influence the story greatly. So if you want to fight and fight and fight, it will be completely different if you're someone who like to communicate. And of course, the game has the potential to punish you if you tend to be one-dimensional.
Because see that's quite interesting to me, because a lot of these games, they do turn into just fight the monster, fight the monster, fight the monster. So the fact that you have these other options and ways to get around them without having to just cut them apart that's really refreshing.
So the thing that we had very, very gone deep in research is to get all the traits of creatures and the characters there. So there is psychology, there is backstory for each character, there is a big story about each creature. So basically, you are playing with something that has his, what is the right word, tendencies, and something that like to lie or like to deceive or like to fight.
Okay.
So basically, it depends very, very much. Sometimes successful outcome is actually very bad for you. that is because you, for example, this is a small spoiler, but
okay,
it won't be too big.
Well, it's a teaser. It's a teaser.
You choose communication. Well, and it turns out that your communication skill is good enough for your character. You successfully communicate with that being, and everything fine. You get something, but it turns out that that being like to deceive. So the gift that you get will get you into trouble and not being the reward. So you'll get, I was successful in communicating, I get the gift, but when you read what the gift is.
Yeah. See, this is the thing as well. When I was looking at the different creatures in the game, I hadn't heard of any of them, because when you think of Slavic, like vampires, they must be Slavic, right? They're Romanian, aren't they? Vampires are from that part of the.
Vampires is yes, it's Slavic, but it's a big thing in a wider region of South Slavs. So Romanian also, of course. We also wanted, as you said, not only for us to explore, but to bring those very exotic creatures from point of view of popular culture. So there is a lot of creatures that already has established themselves as mainstream.
Mhm.
Werewolf is also
Yeah.
Slavic.
Oh, okay.
Vampire. So you have those, but we wanted to bring to the table a lot of those which are not commonly known. So
Yeah.
there is that learning process and process of getting know of the creatures and mythology.
I really like that it's a good stepping stone into like bigger role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons as well, because it's a board game, but it encourages you to think about your character and think about the world and learn about the creatures.
We at the end realized that it's kind of gateway game. So
Yeah,
basically, game that can play hardcore gamers with their families which never played board game. It's
yeah,
game that you can play with your children or your neighbor. It's the game that you can play with someone who likes role-playing games, but also for board gamers. Usually storytelling games, at least after our research and everything, because as we are developing the game, we get into every aspect of that and then seeing what people already have done. Usually storytelling game has one big drawback, and that is
yeah.
you play them several times and then it's done
That's it.
because you will
Yeah,
not get anything new from
you
that.
know the story. Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Here, it is not the case from my perspective, and I think that a lot of reviews and playthroughs that will be available, and many of them, it was very, how can I say, hard thing to do.
yeah,
Send the game to independent reviewer because it's risky. It's risky
yeah. We'll
business.
link to those as well, so that people can check it out. Um, Going back to the creatures though, because again, like there was the Lesnick was the one that I saw that looked really cool. The sculpture for that's amazing. I just want to pull these sculpts in for a little second. Oh, you've got them there, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, one of the things that we really wanted to be sure with these kind of miniatures is because we are new to this. This is our first project in the board game, and when I started thinking about miniatures and get Sasha Ristich Krieger joined the team, that was magical because he's not only one of the top uh, artist in terms of making the miniatures, but he's also a Slavic expert. So we just clicked, and it was magical. The painful thing was he do this stuff so amazingly
mhm.
good that we had to redo all the things that we already had and put them on the level above. And then I was scared, very much scared about how it could be done in the practice because casting something like this
Mhm.
actually for me I still cannot believe that they can do this. So this is not 3D print, this is
Oh right, okay,
casted.
really.
Yes,
That
yeah,
that that is fantastic. That's
yeah, and they can do it so realistic, and I wanted to be sure that the thing that we show to the people on the Kickstarter will be as much as possible same when we go to the production.
the plastic miniatures look amazing. Like that is one of the highest quality miniatures I've seen in a board game, maybe ever. Like they look so good.
Thank you, and we feel the same. I have to share this because of backers and because of future colleagues that will maybe see the game and wanted to do the same. One big problem with having miniatures, and my wife was how can I say thrilled in the same time, but very how can I say not so pleased with my decision in the beginning because we understand very fast how expensive
For sure.
to get miniatures, and we didn't made five same and then said we have 20 miniatures, and actually there is four.
Yeah.
This is 29 unique miniatures in the game. Each is sculpted with perfection and by the artist who really knows about Slavic mythology.
Yeah.
So but as I said, it makes game much more expensive and it makes game harder to reach the funding goal of the Kickstarter. So there is a downside with the
Yeah,
miniature.
for sure. Just talking about the creatures, was there a creature that you learned about that you just thought was fantastic? Like, what's your favourite creature in the game?
Oh, I love a lot of them. Maybe my favorite is still Lesnik.
Yeah.
That I show you because he was the first that we get the miniature and we invest so much love in his storylines and everything. You will be able to do a lot of good stuff with Lesnik.
So, who is Lesnik, or what is Lesnik?
Well, Lesnik is the master of the forest, so he's like a very powerful creature that can decide everything inside the forest with the animals, and they obey him, and the plants and everything. And there is an interesting thing about him that his power is equal with his position in the forest. So basically, if he's in the center of the forest, he's as powerful, as big as the tallest tree. But as he gets closer to the forest edge, he gets smaller and thinner and weaker and so on. So
yeah, this is great. Like you're just wrapping me up in like fairy tales. It's so good. Like it does feel like being a child and just having this story told about like the giant oak that becomes a small dryad at the edges of the forest. And no, that's awesome. The other thing about the game is obviously you started making it with Dimitrije when Dimitrije was only 8 years old. So has the game gotten more complicated as Dimitrije got older, or have you tried to keep it at the level that an 8-year-old can understand?
Well, the game become its own creature. So she grow organically without tending her, but its growth was natural, like plant of the child or something. You help it, but you don't control it in full sense. I will give you several examples. First, with miniatures. I was so happy for miniatures. I was devastated because we have to throw away all the work and start again. That was one time where it's out of my control. Second thing, Dimitrije and I was so thrilled with the creatures, with the actions, with the meeting them and learning about them. And my wife was playing with us and she said, oh, there's something missing here. It's kind of empty when you're not meeting the creature and you just anticipating that. So we need something else. And some other neighbor said about, you have everything from fairy tales here. Even we didn't have, but we have that feeling of fairy tales. And then we said, oh, why wouldn't we have fairy tales? And then my wife said, we can make the cards and you can explore the forest. So then we have 9 more decks with 200 more items, which are all connected with each other and connected the book of encounters. And when you start to doing all those combination and testing the game and making sure it doesn't stuck, you're making sure it doesn't last too long, balancing it right. It's something like Bible. Do you know in Bible when they reference everything with everything?
Yeah.
So you have 1,000 of jumping like in the lawyer document, see this and see that and so on.
Yeah.
That is actually the number of combination that Forest can throw at you. It's
it's got to be some create. By the time it's like it's factorial, right? For every card multiplied by every other card, and
we didn't get the same game.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That is like true replayability. If every single game is a unique experience. So the other thing as well, this is totally self-published, right? You're doing it all yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that the only way? Did you want to keep full control, or?
Well, it was actually, we never thought about Kickstarter in the beginning. And then when the game started to look promising and everything, guys, I thought it would be very nice to get it out there to other people, and especially because, as you said, for your mythology, for me, it is part of my heritage, and I would like to share it with the world.
I guess the next thing that we need to talk about then is where can people get it? You've talked about Kickstarter, so when does the Kickstarter begin, and how long are people going to have?
Oh, launching date is the 10th February, and it will be live 21 days.
Okay.
So 3 weeks. That's another interesting thing. Oh, you think only about the game, and when you finish, or let's say finish creative process and process of ensuring the game is doable, you actually enter another big project, and that is marketing. Marketing is
Yeah.
completely other axis of that coordinate system. It has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the game. So basically, think that you have the game means nothing if you cannot get to the public. So I'm very thankful to you and to your channel for
Yeah.
giving me opportunity. I'm thankful for all the people that follow the
Like,
Radgos, that give the feedback.
that's why we do this. We want to really show, like, give a spotlight to creators like yourself, like people with great stories. Because like you're saying, there's so many people out there with these ideas and have these amazing origin stories, and it's only through like Kickstarter and other indie platforms that these people can get raised up. So that's 100% what we want to do. So if people want to back you, get involved, what different tiers can they go in at? What's the cost going to be if they want a copy of this game?
Well, we have thought and tried to give opportunity to everybody. So we didn't enforce the people to buy the miniatures. So you have the version of the game without miniatures with standees. Its starting price will be $64,
Right.
and for complete game with all the miniatures, we call it Oak Pledge. It's 99,
Okay.
and we have Divine Pledge, which is one, I think 129.
And the other one as well that you didn't mention there that I'm the most excited about is you have a bundle that's miniatures only, right? Like no game, you can buy the miniatures on their own because I love painting miniatures. So I would like to just have the miniatures to use in my roleplay games and to just enjoy painting them. And there's one. Did you paint that or?
Oh no, no! This is Angel Giraldes.
Okay.
He's like Velasquez of painting I believe he's in the top. I'll maybe go over there, but I'll say in top 3 in this business because it's unbelievable what he has done with this
Yeah,
figure.
it's a shame because like the camera is not doing that justice. I'm sure that miniature is beautiful and it's hard to get the focus right.
You have the link on YouTube where it's close up.
And I'll put all of that in the description. So anybody who's watching this, if you want to see those videos, you can get them in the description when the Kickstarter's live. So if you're watching this after the 10th, the Kickstarter will be in the description. All of the Forest of Radgost Facebook stuff, it's all in the description, so you can check out everything that Ivan's up to. So I just want to recap the prices. Correct me if I'm wrong here. So the regular game with all the miniatures, your Oak Pledge, is $99. Without the miniatures, so the cheaper version of the game with the standees instead of the minis is $64.
Yes.
Yep. And then the miniatures only is $49.
Yes.
And then you've got the big special one for $129, and that's extra miniatures in it as well.
120 millimeters, two miniatures extra size.
Right. Okay.
Not only extra, but
so large. So you get big. So are they giants
so
or titans
you're
or?
not that good with the small things. And there is a cup for dices, and you have dices with the marble effect. And there will be additional mission for Daibog because one of the miniatures in Divine Pledge is Daibog, so there will be 2 gods in.
Right. So it's not just Radgost. There's another god in the Divine Pledge.
Yeah, we introduced the Daibog also in Divine Pledge, like a little bit addition. And
No, that's really
that,
cool.
that
That's
is
really cool.
my favorite. That and the Elder. That's two my favorite miniatures. The Diebold miniatures and the character of Elder.
Okay.
It's that's my personal two favorites. I love
Yeah.
most of them, but that's two are perfectly.
No, it's really exciting. It's really exciting. I can't wait for the Kickstarter to start. I'm looking forward to it.
I will share with you about the pledge
Sorry,
with
pulled out my
only
headphones there.
miniatures. That was not a plan at all, but we get the feedback. So I will repeat this for everybody. Thank you for your feedback and help, and encouraging all other creators. Be true and go out and spoke with all the people that you can. You will get an enormous quality feedback that can only enhance you in your game. The feedback was, we want your miniatures to use in another game. We want your miniatures to paint them. So it was, there is a people that are really up to miniatures, but they don't need the game or they don't like the type of the game. And I thought, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It's perfectly reasonable thing to want. I want them also. I cannot wait to have them all here.
But yeah, no, that's Ivan. I am done up for you. I wish you all the best of luck with this. I hope this is a massive success. I hope that Dimitri has learned something from this like little lesson you tried to teach him as 8 years old.
I'm sure that he learned a lesson about how hard it is to bring something to the rightful end and to something that is real and that could be there for other people. There is one, I will say this just, and that is also from mythology. It's not enough for hero to conquer or defeat some monster or anything else or some big objective. Only if he do that objective and bring something of value back to the people, he is a truly hero. So basically, if you make the game and that game never enters other homes, it's not heroic at all. So you have to finish it up to the end. So
Oh, you're giving me chills now. That's that's amazing, Ivan.
yeah, that's mythology. That's not that's definitely mythology. If you don't bring it back to community, if you don't bring it value to other people, if they don't understand you, and that's same for the creative process. That's same for science. It doesn't matter if you're biggest scientist in the world if nobody understands you.
Yep.
If nobody can follow you, if you don't leave that behind, that means nothing. So it's very important to bring that back to reality and to the public. So, and it's hard. It's very hard because it's part of you. Actually, after 6 years, it's part of you, and you have to put it on display and exposure. And I understand people why they don't like to do that because it could hurt. It could hurt bad. And I still believe that this could go wrong. And I'm strong believer that it will succeed, but there is always possibility, and I always left that room in my mind that it won't succeed on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that's something.
I mean, like, I am with you. I totally have faith in this project. I think it looks amazing. It sounds amazing. Like the story behind it's all amazing, and just the lesson that you're trying to impart on your son. It's such an important one. That is one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this interview because I think that is what sets this apart. It's not the mythology. It's not the storytelling game. It's the journey that you and your son have went on to bring this into other people's homes that I think is awesome. I think it's so good.
Thank you so much, and you will be glad to hear that one of the sentences, I'm not sure now who was the author of that sentence, but someone said this is the game where the journey is more important than the aim and the objective. So basically that is like with the life is the journey and not something that you will reach at the end. At the end is you know what is at the end.
Yeah.
So basically for all of us. So
Yep.
enjoy the journey. Journey is the important thing, not the aim.
And do you know what, Ivan? I think that's a perfect place to leave it. So thank you so much for your time, and everybody go and check out the Kickstarter. It's live on the 10th of February. If this sounds like your jam, go and check it out. Support Ivan, support Dimitrije, support Forest of Radgost. It sounds amazing, and I wish you every bit of luck with it, Ivan. Thank you so much for your time.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Okay, have a good evening. I'll see you later.